So I'm Jacob Martin. My project is PaytheArtist, and the idea behind it is that most artists really don't make enough money from what they do, and they really need a little bit more support. So the idea behind this is just creating a way to donate directly to artists without it going to record labels or anybody else. It's not like giving content or anything like that. It's just a way to donate directly. And pretty much the way we've been doing it is through using the Apple API to search, and then you'll pretty much pay what you want, and we'll distribute it to different artists. So we've been using a Apple API and a PostgreSQL server for this. We do want to expand it to be used like your radio preferences and what you've been listening to decide how much goes to each artist and pretty much grab it easily. But right now it's just using the Apple API. So the team is Andrew, who's our web developer, Brian, who's been working on Rails, and Jasmine, who's been working on the API. We also have somebody at RIT who just started working on a Java applet that'll pretty much just scan through a folder and just make suggestions on what artists you should be donating to. So in the end, we just wanted to be a safe, secure way to donate directly to artists. And there's always the problem that you go and you try and find the artist and you can't get in contact with them, or they won't accept the money. And usually that'll happen with big artists. And to counter that, pretty much any money that we can't get to artists is going to go to charity. And the one we're using right now is the Fender Music Foundation, but we plan to open it up and have users vote on it in the future. So right now we're just finishing work on the Postgres database and creating an interface for the Apple API so you can easily search on our website and add artists and pretty much split the cost. We've been working with sliders that are very similar to Humble Bundle, pretty much copied exactly. And right now they work perfectly except for pretty much changing dynamically, adding artists or removing artists. So we just need to fix that up and that should be working. We also need social media pages and somebody to manage them. And we're just continuing to work on the website. So I'm going to hand it off to Andrew so he can talk about what he's been doing.
Just really quickly, I basically do the front end development for the website. I just make this stuff. Right now, for the future, gonna work on making the site more dynamic. There are a little bit of bugs that I want to fix with the form that are right there. But that's been
So yeah, I'm mainly going to be working on the Ruby on Rails aspect of the site, but as of right now, I've mostly been working on the actual form that you see right now. It's pretty self-explanatory. You've got a total amount that you're going to want to pay, an artist, which would be the name and percent, and you can add artists to that. So like, let's say you had 3 different artists, you were going to pay a total of $80. You could say, all right, I want 20% to go to this artist, 40% to go to this other artist, and then another 40% to go to the third artist. And really, it doesn't really have a limit to how many artists it can handle, but I mean, I haven't exactly tested that much. So, like with huge numbers of artists. So.
I'm working on the Apple API thing, integrating that so we can search for artists on the website and add them.
So with that, we're also planning on selecting a few independent artists that we especially like and reaching out to them and effectively bribing them to give us some love on social media so that they'll be the first to donate, and it'll also show that we're legitimate and we're pretty much going to use your money directly to artists and not keep any for ourselves. All the funding for this is pretty much from our RCOS accounts, including servers and even that funding going to artists. So we're not taking any money from it. We are probably going to use WePay as our payment system just because PayPal is incredibly annoying and evil. But we haven't decided 100% on that. We are planning to expand to Spotify and other radio sites. So yeah, is there any questions? Colin?
So I used to do some work with trying to get payment systems working, and it turns out to be a lot more complicated than you think when you're taking in money and then giving it to someone else.
Yeah.
And I don't know if WePay will let you do that. A lot of the big firms shy away from it. But if they say no, you can talk to this thing called balance dot something. I don't remember. It might be US, it might be .com or whatever. But they basically all they do is marketplaces like this where you're taking in money and giving it to someone else.
Perfect.
So they would be willing to do this if other people say no. And you should ask them now because I'm like 90% sure they're going to tell you no.
Okay.
So you should do that.
Any other questions?
How are you dealing with contract information for bands and artists?
We're pretty much going to be contacting them through social media and looking for their emails and contacting their producers. They're pretty much doing everything we can.
So it's not like artists are joining us?
Well, we're also going to have an option for them to add their own songs to it, and hopefully that gets more popular. But initially, that's how we're going to have to do it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes.
So are you essentially holding the money in like escrow when somebody like gives you money and then you hold it to see if you could actually contact the artist and then you pay the artist?
Yeah, pretty much. And then if we can't, we just give it to charity after a while.
Is that like kind of close to money laundering?
That's why you have balance to it because they do the FinCEN track.
Yeah. But yeah, one of the things we really need to focus on in this is legitimacy and really conveying that to our users. So, for example, our competitors who take 10% of donations and they misspell things. They use like lowercase I instead of normal uppercase I's. They're really it's iffy, and I don't like that people have to go through this to donate to artists. So that's why we want to create something that's already there. And also, hopefully, we'll have a much better interface in the end. Perfect.